What's going on, gang? Welcome back. There's been a huge shift in the meta, and I'm gonna go over the top 5 long-range weapons in Warzone and the top 5 close-range weapons in Warzone. So if that's what you're looking for, definitely keep watching. Let's get into it.
Okay, action.
The DM10 is out. It's been good for about a week with the Season 4 Reloaded update, but now there's another 1 week update after that where they've completely nerfed it into the ground. So let's head over to the Call of Duty website so I can show you. So this is the Call of Duty website here. Let me scroll down. Oh, I passed it. DM10. Nerfed. They should just write the word nerfed right across the nerfed. Anyways, arm multipliers decreased from 1 times to 0.8. Lower torso decreased from 0.9 to 0.8. Then we got bullet velocity reduced from 920 meters per second to 850 meters per second. And then, like, this isn't already enough nerfs, the aim down sight speed has been reduced from 330 milliseconds to 360 milliseconds. So basically, the gun doesn't hit as hard, the bullets move slower, and it takes me longer to aim. Nerfed. Anyways, we got lots to talk about. There's a huge shift in the meta, so I'm going to show you the top 5 long-range weapons in Warzone and Rebirth, and the top 5 close-range weapons in Warzone and Rebirth. So let's get into it. Head over to community and we look here. I put the top 5 weapons and then I threw in the DM10 just so you could see nerfed. All right, so we got the GPR, we got the SWAT 556, we got the HDR, the DM10, the FFAR, and we got the TR2. Now, if you look at this, you'll see right here, I would say that everything except for the DM10 is neck and neck. Right here, we have a bunch of guns that are within a certain range, all pretty much killing it within the same time. So if you look at this more in depth, we know that the FFAR up close is the fastest killing AR. So up close, all the way up to about 42 meters, the FFAR is the fastest killing weapon. And that's killing, based on this, in about 576 milliseconds. That's really fast. No wonder the game is unplayable. There's no time to react. Anyways, that's a different story. But if we head up into the GPR, which I'm going to be playing the GPR a lot. Like, I'm ready for the GPR, bro. I wanna blam some people. You know what I mean? So anyways, we get into the GPR. The GPR is next in line. So 588 milliseconds over 42 meters. But here's where the GPR kind of takes the reins. It kind of goes all the way up to, what is this, 50 meters? 50 meters with the same TTK. That's 8 meters further than the FFAR. You could play the FFAR, but you got to make sure you got to stay within that 42 meter range if you're trying to get that fast TTK. Once you get into this range over here, everything falls off except for one weapon, the TR2. The TR2 stays pretty much the same, which is 600 milliseconds, all the way up to 107 meters. That is insane. That is definitely the gun to be using right now if you play a long range style of game. It is untouchable. Look at the gap here in the graph. All right. But here's one thing I didn't mention. There is one gun missing from this graph. There is one gun missing from this graph. You know what the gun is? The HDR. Why is the HDR not on this graph? Well, if you're a sniper, you should be very happy right now. When you scroll down here, the HDR one-shot ranges, if we just look right here, I highlighted it real quick, infinite range. Infinite range. So the HDR is one shot at an infinite range. Infinite range? So bro, you could be anywhere on the map. If you see someone and you decide to pull the trigger, as long as you are aiming correctly, anticipating where they're going to be, as long as you hit them where they are going to be or where they are standing, you will kill them. It doesn't matter if you're across the map. So basically, if I got my loadout in Warzone, I would just start shooting straight ahead. Maybe I'll hit somebody. Maybe they'll die. It's one shot. Infinite range. Infinite range. If you're a sniper, you should be using this gun. If you are not a sniper, you should be using this gun. I'm not a sniper. I might have to pick up the HDR. But first, I'm gonna pick up that GPR because the GPR looks tough. I will be making class setup videos in the coming days on some of these guns. I don't have enough time to play this game all the time. Some of these guns I don't even have leveled up. Like the TR2, I'm still leveling up, I think. The GPR I've never touched. The DM10 I've never touched. Well, peace out. The HDR I've never touched. And the SWAT 556, I think I leveled that up a while ago. And now that it's meta again, I'll just make my class setup for it. But now, let's get into that close range meta. Yo, real quick, not to cut the video, we'll get right back to it, but don't forget to subscribe. I'm almost at the 50 subscriber mark. That'll be a milestone for me. So hit that subscribe button. Let's make this community bigger. Thanks. So on this list, there's actually only 3 guns, 3 out of the 5 that I think are really, really worth talking about these days. It's kind of, in my opinion, maybe even getting a little stale, but overall, I put it in there anyways, the other 2, because they can contend for, I guess, you know, top meta. But obviously we got the LC10, the C9, the Ladra, the SOG. I love the SOG. I love the SOG. One of my first videos ever made. I love the SOG. The MX9. So the MX9, I didn't even hear about it until today, but I was like, let me just throw it in there to see. And to be honest, yo, look at this chart here. The LC10, of course, slaps. I already made a video on that, so you should check that out. The LC10 slaps up to 16 meters. Is that 16? Am I blind? I'm not blind. 16 meters. I should increase the font on this. Hold on. There we go. Increase the font. Anyways, now if we look at the rest of the weapons, everything here except for the LC10 is pretty neck and neck with its TTK in the 16 meter range. In the 16 meter range, the LC10 kills in 525 milliseconds. Okay, that's pretty good. All right, but it kind of falls off here at the 16 meter range into 17 meters or 16 plus, because there's like 16.2, 0.3, 0.4, whatever. You know decimals, how they work. Once you get into the 16 meter plus range, the LC10 goes up to 675 milliseconds, while some of these other weapons stay below. Actually, all of these other weapons stay below it. Can we change that? How do I change the colors on this? Bro, I can't see nothing. Hold on. Okay, so it's kind of hard to see because they're so neck and neck here. But if you look at the MX9 and the SOG, they're both really close within that 12 meter range. So within that 12 meter range, you actually have the SOG killing in 594 milliseconds and the MX9 killing in 567 milliseconds. How does that make sense? Idioting. Talk about the wrong gun. The Ladra, my bad, not the SOG. I just love the SOG, bro. The Ladra kills all the way up to 12 meters in 560 milliseconds, while the SOG kills in 500 and not the SOG, man. While the MX9 kills in 567 milliseconds. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, when you get over to the 17 mark, they're all neck and neck again. They were kind of neck and neck here, except for the LC10. And then when you get over here, they're all neck and neck again. And that's not a bad thing. I think this is actually a really good balance. So maybe all 5 of these are guns you should consider. I'll put up a class setup video for some of these guns in the future. Once we get to the 20 meter mark is where things really change. The 21 meter mark specifically. The LC10 again stays at 677 milliseconds from the 21 meter mark all the way up to the 30 meter mark. That's probably why most people are using this gun. It's the fastest up close for 12 meters. Then it slows down compared to the rest, but it stays at that pretty fast rate all the way up to 30 meters. That's really good. I would use the LC10 if I were you. But if you like mixing it up, you don't want to be like everybody else. That's me. You could try some of these other guns, which I might do. I really might. But my LC10 also has a death effect on it. I don't think all of these guns do, and I'm not spending any more money. I'm not doing that, bro. Once we get out to the 30 meter range, you know, it's pretty neck and neck again, but the fastest killing gun at that 30 meter range is the C9. So if you're someone who plays with a little more distance, but you end up getting into some up close battles and then you try to distance yourself, the C9 is your best bet. All the way up to 45 meters, it's going to be killing in 930 milliseconds, which is faster than all the other guns here at that range. It really depends on what you're trying to run. Now, there's one thing I didn't mention. The one thing I didn't mention, and this is why I only put 5 guns here. There's a AR that can be used as an SMG. The with a FFAR. So if you look here, if you look at the FFAR, sure, it's not faster than all of the SMGs here at the closest range, but if you go all the way up to where things start to change, which is where the LC10 changes, at the 16 meter plus mark, the FFAR is killing in 576 milliseconds. This is crazy. And it stays that way. It stays that way until the 42 plus meter mark. If you're someone who gets into those close range and you want to murk somebody up close, it's doable with the FFAR for sure. It's better than some of the submachine guns on the list. However, when you want to distance yourself, but you don't want to swap weapons, you might not have time to, the FFAR will still kill faster than all of these SMGs all the way up to 42 meters plus. That is insane. That is insane. So right now, I would be running the FFAR with the HDR as your long range. Again, these are all with no attachments. Now, when we get into the 42 plus meter mark, 768 milliseconds, which is still insane compared to some of the other ARs, which we just looked at. And then the 55 meter mark, it goes up to 832 milliseconds. Again, really fast. Might not be the #1 best AR, but I mean, as an SMG, this thing, if we were to actually just consider the FFAR to be an SMG, this thing is disgusting. This thing is nasty. It's the worst SMG, the worst in the best way SMG in the game. So there it is. That's the meta shift. If you enjoyed this and you thought this was helpful, definitely leave a like, a comment down below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm on the road to 50 subscribers. I can't wait till we get there. I will be making class setup videos in the future for this. I will also be making potentially a review video on Season 4 Reloaded and what I think. Can't wait to see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to keep it thugging.
Fresh fit fitted on my hot end, whole team all up in the field like a tight end.
There has been a huge shift in the meta. Okay, I could argue whether it's huge or not. There's been a shift in the meta. No, it sounds better when I say huge. There's been a huge shift in the meta.
Tell him pull a beat up. Turn a cold summer to a heat up. Always been humble, but the most high got me coming all up on my shell like Adidas. Shoot game hotter than fajitas. Suit game dripping by the leader. Follow the leader. Felt cute, might delete it later. This ain't no flexing. This ain't no regular record. This is that family function we stepping.